Welcome to the Put on Waivers Media Group, home of the Put on Raiders podcast and the Student Body Right podcast. This is your place for the best breakdowns and the best insight for those who fight on and bleed silver and black. Now, here are your hosts, Dwayne Douglas and Ryan Holmes.
And welcome everybody to the glorious episode of the Student Body Right USC podcast. I'm your host, Dwayne Douglas, and as you can see, I am podcasting off the beautiful shores of the Pacific Ocean. Beautiful day out here in Southern California, early morning out here. I'm just kind of enjoying the day. Please, PORSBR is my Twitter handle. And for Raider fans, RHOLM22 is Ryan Holmes. So you can make sure you watch the USC podcast and also watch the Put on Raiders podcast as well. So check us out on both accords as far as that goes. So let's just jump right into it. You know, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. Leave something in the comments too. We'll do a comment show as well coming up as well, so we kind of go over your comments. I know how you guys drive the show. I mean, I'm here, but you guys drive the show, and I appreciate your time. So, offensive line, Ethan White, Florida. The transfer we thought was going to be coming in did not come in. So unfortunately, that didn't happen as far as that goes. So USC and Florida in a situation where they didn't really want to say why those things didn't happen, but why the transfer didn't come to fruition. But it happens. You know, nothing you can really do about it. You know, it kind of leaves a little bit of a hole in that offensive line for Lincoln Riley and company. But you know, I have one thing I know about this guy is, like, you know, as a play caller, he's going to close deals. He's going to get players in who can run his offense. I mean, it's just no question about it. So I'm not even worried about it. Not tripping off of it in any way. I know there's a big offensive lineman from Wyoming who everybody's excited about. That's a guy who people are going to be like, you know, hey, you know, everybody's going after him. Cameron Johnson from the University of Houston is coming in for a visit for the Trojans. So we'll see if they close that deal as well. I mean, why wouldn't you want to block? You know, why wouldn't you want to block for Caleb Williams and be on that spotlight and be in those big games that USC is going to play this year? They just did a fantastic job of bringing in players through the transfer portal. They've been kind of like, I won't say the kings of the transfer portal, but they've been pretty good there. So I do believe that they're going to be able to close those deals and get those guys signed and have them come over. Obviously for Cameron Johnson, he is very interested in coming over to USC for obvious reasons. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why he would definitely want to come over. And you know, being part of a really good offensive line, being able to play with a Heisman Trophy winner would probably be something that you really want to see him do, and probably what he wants to do as well. That's probably going to kind of get his draft stock and all that stuff like that. Will probably be big for him as well. So, be cool to see him get signed here to the Trojans and get that transfer finalized. But we'll see on how his visit goes. But a little influx on the offensive line. They don't have they have a good offensive line. If they had to play a game tomorrow, I'd be a little bit worried about it. But USC doesn't play tomorrow. You know, the USC doesn't play tomorrow, so I'm not really concerned with that part of it. By the time the season comes around and that first game against San Jose State, they're gonna be fine, and they're gonna have, you know, the big guys up front, the big uglies to run that GT counter for Lincoln Riley. I'm not going to be too concerned about it. I think that we can trust that a play caller is going to do whatever he can to get quality offensive linemen, excuse me, into his camp. He's not going to let those situations that situation go awry. He won't let that situation go awry, because he doesn't want, you know, a poor offensive line play to blow up his offensive scheme. So I'm not really worried about that part of it. There is a developing, you know, situation here where Right now in Los Angeles, there is a defensive lineman from Georgia, Keithan Deshaun Bear Alexander, is visiting the Trojans this week. He is on his Instagram showing off how he's getting wined and dined, I guess, by the Trojans in his hotel room. He showed pictures of him on the plane. So for whatever reason, he is trying to transfer out of Georgia, or at least it has a interest in entering the portal, and now he's visiting with USC, and he's exercising his right as a player to go do those things. I mean, this is almost like free agency in the National Football League. This gives players the opportunity to see what better NIL situations there are. Also, just it's a big need there. Like it's a need where, like, yes, they got Keon Bars, yes, they got Muhammad, yes, they got Sullivan, but it's that guy who can just they got Anthony Lucas, but if they got that one guy who can just kind of put everybody on their back, like if he is able to become a Trojan, he can put everybody on his back. It just makes everybody better. He occupies 2 and sometimes 3 blockers on a lot of plays. It's going to be really difficult to deal with a USC defensive line with Bars, with Lucas, with Muhammad. You have rotational players like Jack Sullivan. And there's so many options that USC is going to have. It's going to be tough for teams to deal with them going forward, and just be able to get those traditional stops. Like, yes, we love turnovers. We love strip sacks. We love all those things. But sometimes you just got to get those 3 and outs. They added one of the best punters in the game in college football. If he's able to, pin people back, you get 3 and outs, and you give a short field, or Branch or Jackson the third can return a punt for a touchdown, or give this USC offense a short field. I mean, we talk about special teams all the time. Like, it makes everything work just better for you. Makes everything work better for you. And if you're able to go out here and land Bear Alexander, I mean, you already took Deuce Robinson from Georgia, right? Georgia was hot, heavy, ready to go for Deuce Robinson. Their baseball program was probably salivating as well. But at the end of the day, USC held it down. They beat him out. And he made that decision to say, hey, I want to be a Trojan over anything else. And that's the kind of the mantra that you see from Lincoln Riley, like being able to get people to say, hey, I want to be a Trojan above anything else. And Bear Alexander, kind of like the Sean Cody moment of this edition of the USC Trojans, it would really make this defensive line go from good to great, make them special, like a special unit, a really special kind of unit where you're sitting there saying, I don't have to blitz to get pressure. Like the really good defensive lines in the National Football League, the really good defensive lines in high school football, college football, they make the defensive coordinators' life so much easier because they don't have to blitz to get pressure. And if you don't have to blitz to get pressure, I mean, the world is your oyster defensively. You can do so many things defensively if you don't have to blitz to get pressure on the quarterback. And I think that's things you're gonna have to do. That's things you're gonna be able to do. Excuse me, with Bear Alexander, if USC is able to get him to transfer from Georgia to USC, and it just kind of puts them. Part of this is being able to flex on somebody. I think Dabo Swinney talked about how while what USC is doing in a short period of time is really becoming special. He talked about that. He made that quote. I made that quote. So obviously, people are hearing about if you can come to Southern California And listen, the players aren't like paying rent and stuff like that. I mean, you get a chance to come out here and just play football and play for a traditional power, to play for a guy who puts so many players in the pros. Like, he knows what these pro scouts want. Whether it's a defensive player, offensive player, it doesn't matter. He knows what these scouts are looking for, and he's going to put you in a position where you can get drafted high. You can kind of take care of things financially while you're out in California playing for USC with the new collective that they just put together out here in Los Angeles. It's gonna be fun times. I mean, it's gonna be fun times again at the Coliseum. And if you give this defense Bear Alexander, I'm telling you right now, if they struggle defensively with Bear Alexander, with Bars, with Muhammad, with Jack Sullivan, with all these defensive players, then you're gonna see, like, after 4 games, you might see a change with Coach Grinch. I mean, this defense might possibly be, and I'll say it, like, it might be Alex Grinch proof. Like, I mean, he really, not that he's totally like an incompetent defensive coordinator. I'm not fond of his style of defense, but they can be effective. And I think they can be more than just effective here. They can have a dominant defensive line. Like, that's the story of the whole of any defense. And there's not a great defense you could think of in your mind, college, pro, that doesn't have a great defensive line. That doesn't have memorable players on the defensive lines. And they have an opportunity to do that. I mean, stuff in the run, talk about clearing up lanes for these linebackers like Tackett Curtis and company to come after, and Eric Gentry to come after and play downhill against the run game. I mean, they're going to be able to do that, and do that at a high level. So USC in position, all the little nuances of getting somebody to transfer or making that decision. I think Muhammad tweeted out, Jill Muhammad tweeted out that all these other schools are out there, but we all know he's coming to USC. So I mean, they're confident. We just had a fight on alert by Mr. Lincoln Riley here. So I mean, that alert, when the USC and Lincoln Riley usually tweet just the peace sign, the fight on sign, that usually means that something big is going to happen, and nothing could be bigger than USC picking up Keith and Deshaun Bear Alexander.